it's not as simple as you bid and you get traffic. Wish it was that simple.
Being successful in ads and selling through your ad, Amazon will improve your organic position on the search results.
And as long as you're making more money than the competition, Amazon is going to reward you for that.
Amazon gets paid for both the click and the conversion.
They sell search. That's what advertising actually is.
Yeah.
This is Amazon selling people's search.
That
Amazon's
phrase.
turned that search into a product.
Yeah.
Think about this product. It's got the shortest shelf life ever. It's nanoseconds. You've got millions of searches going through this at any one point in time. That's the supply. And then you have demand. That's us as that want to. We're the advertisers. We're buying that supply.
They basically made an extra 200K a month thanks to us within 3 months. 200K. Let's just leave it at that. Right, before we get into the episode, let's get a little bit personal. We found out that over 80% of you are swingers. We didn't believe it ourselves. I couldn't believe it. Zamir couldn't believe it. But yes, you're swingers. How do we know? Because you won't commit. You won't commit to us. Hit subscribe. It'll make our day, makes things even better, and we'll be one big happy family. Hey team, welcome to an episode of Upside where we talk all things online and marketplaces. One of the most common things that happens when a brand comes in to chat to us is very much like relationships. They come to us with baggage, right? Because someone or somehow they have been spending too much on advertising and they're like, this is not working. We want it to work. It's broken. Amazon is impossible. How do you get advertising to work? And we want to try and help you unload some of that baggage. If that sounds like you, listen in, because I have managed to convince Amir to tell his philosophy on advertising. But everybody has an opinion on how to do advertising, and there's a lot of them out there. But what I really want to try and do is share Zamir's, because admittedly, and I've said this before and I'm saying it in front of him now, and I'm saying it to you guys, his philosophy is exceptionally good. It's very unique, and it's actually one of the key parts of how we've achieved so much success for our brands. So we've taken brands from literally zero to £1 million a year in a few months, several times over, and some companies that have come to us, and literally, I'm not going to name the name of the famous coffee company, but they went from, they basically made an extra 200K a month thanks to us within 3 months. 200K. Let's just leave it at that. But so this philosophy has worked. It works very well, and I want to kind of get Zamir to talk about the philosophy. If you like what is said, because it's going to be the theory behind it. If you like what's said, we'll do episodes on the practical sides of it, and we'll go into deeper detail on the tactical aspects of this. But let's start at the top. Sorry, Zamir, I've done lots of talking.
No, that's great.
Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the points you made there is two things to pick up on. I'm surprised at how unique our philosophy is because of how effective it is.
Yeah, and
right?
it should sound
and we're generally
logical.
really open. We talk about
logical.
it. And that's the other point, because you talked about philosophies like religions, lots of people, but just to be very clear, ours is based on fact and evidence and proof.
Yeah.
So there's no faith required. The philosophy works.
Yes, I was going to say a religious joke, but I don't need the hate mail.
No, we don't.
All right.
I think we always say caveat at the beginning, top warning. Advertising improves visibility. It does not improve conversion. If you've got a conversion issue, throwing advertising at it, it's not going to help you.
Funnily enough, we did an episode about that. Maybe check that out.
Absolutely.
But
Focusing
once you've got the conversion part sorted,
that's when what you want to do is you want to scale. And that's where advertising really comes in.
Yeah. And so you get more eyes on something, because it's like the sales funnel. The more people who see the product, you can get them more into the funnel and then come down.
Yeah, which is what advertising is all about. I mean, a couple of key points to understand about Amazon and where it stands that makes it very specific. First of all, unlike other PPC platforms like Google, Amazon's paid advertising influences its organic ranking.
Yeah.
And this is really, if it's done correctly.
Yeah.
If it's done correctly, you can influence it. And that's how you create a very sustainable advertising campaign.
Yeah, because like if I'm on Google and someone clicks on my ad, Google gets paid only on the ad,
Yeah.
right? They don't get paid on the conversions.
No.
Meta, same thing. Get paid for the click, but don't get paid for the conversion. Amazon gets paid for both the click and the conversion. So
this is a really important point, right? Because what you're talking about is the self-interest of each of these companies. And our entire philosophy is built around trying to understand Amazon's self-interest and then align that self-interest with each of the brands we're working with. What's also really interesting is it works differently in different markets for different products. Even within the same market segment, different products at different price points would use their data and operate and tweak and optimize differently. So it's not like you can have a formula or a one size fits all, but you can read within the data and understand what's happening. But you have to look at advertising completely differently because it's not as simple as you bid and you get traffic. Wish it was that simple. It's far more complex than that. And it's such a dynamic environment. And that's what we should really talk about.
yeah, so please tell us more.
So a couple of concepts here. First of all, for Amazon, search is a product. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's a byproduct of what they do, but they sell search. That's what advertising actually is.
Yeah.
This is Amazon selling people's search. And from an advertiser's perspective, what we're doing is we're buying consumers' attention. And Amazon has created not a fixed price market for this, a dynamic market.
Yeah. I want to expand on this because it took me, when you first started telling me about this, I had to kind of think about what are you actually talking about? Because it's like you have to click onto the concept. So basically what you're saying is what Amazon is selling is that space, the first 5 spaces, wherever the ad's but most basic one is the first 4 or 5 spaces on any search results page, right? So someone puts in a search, the product they're selling is those first 4 or 5 spaces, and what we are buying is an allocation into that. So what people what Amazon's selling is the first 5 spots, and what we are buying is the opportunity to get their attention in one of those spots.
That's what we're pretty much buying, but what Amazon's actually selling as a search. So someone types in a search.
Yeah.
Amazon's
phrase.
turned that search into a product.
Yeah.
Think about this product. It's got the shortest shelf life ever. It's nanoseconds. Because they have to serve it immediately. If they don't, they lose.
That space is lost, and the opportunity to make money on that is
absolutely.
gone.
And it's just organic results would fill that gap. So they have to fill that with an ad.
Yeah.
We bid on that. But we bid it on if you think about the model, it's a cost per click, PPC, cost per click, right? Amazon doesn't get paid to show our ads. Amazon gets paid if someone clicks. So we've got a really key metric that sits in here when Amazon's trying to determine our value. And again, it's not. Comes back to that whole idea of whoever bids the highest is going to get that space. Because it's not a matter of just how much you're bidding.
Exactly.
It's your click-through rate,
Yes.
your CTR, the propensity of someone, the likelihood that they're going to click on your ad.
Yeah.
Because that's when Amazon gets paid. And that's what's most important to them. That's where the value is for them.
Exactly. So kind of links back through to having an optimized listing that's likely to get clicked
Absolutely.
once it appears.
The more clickable your ad, in
more-
essence, the less you can bid, yet the more you can still appear competitive on the market. And I keep on coming back to this point. Amazon's operating a dynamic market. You've got millions of searchers going through this at any one point in time. That's the supply. And then you have demand. That's us as we're the advertisers. We're buying that supply. But it's not just simply the bid that we're making at that point in time. It's also the value of that bid. Transpose onto the fact that this search moves up and down at different points in the day. And for anything, it trends slightly upwards. We see increases in the morning, we see increases at lunchtime, and then definitely in the afternoon and evening. But within that, you've got advertisers with budgets, and generally we all reset our budgets in midnight. And during, especially midday to mid-afternoon, a number of people top out. Yeah, they max out those budgets. So you actually have fewer advertisers later on. And whenever you look at your cost per click, or when Amazon shows it's always an average, whether you're looking on a day, week, or month, because the price you've paid has been moving throughout the day.
Yeah.
Because the market has been moving. Once you understand that, You start to begin to see how complex the system is and how dynamic you have to be, and the tools that you can then use to actually game the
Yeah.
system and take advantage.
Because I don't want to freak people out. Because yes, it's complicated. Well, it's complex, I should say.
It's more complex, I think, than people give it initial credence for.
Yeah.
But I don't think the concept in itself in general is that complex, and there are easy and simple solutions.
And that's what I was going to say. So let's talk through some of those solutions, because I want people to kind of like finish this, be like, okay, cool. I now have a couple of things I can walk away with on this. So the key, what we're saying so far is 1, make sure your listing's optimized. Yep. 2, make sure that this is a visibility game, and you don't have to be the highest bidder. You just need to be able to get the most clicks once your ad is displayed.
Yep.
Any other key bits around that philosophy?
I mean, just coming back to that original point that Amazon, you can influence the organic algorithm.
Yes,
and
through being successful in ads and selling through your ad, Amazon will improve your organic position on the search results.
Yeah, so ultimately, if Amazon ads is all about that click-through rate versus and that bid and your budget and how much you've got available to spend, then the organic algorithm is all about your commission for Amazon, not how much money you're making. Again, this is sellers are all you should be focusing on how much you're going to make. Focus also on how much Amazon's going to make. Look at your market, look at your competition, see how much they're likely to be making for Amazon versus yourself. Look at how many units you're selling versus theirs, but also look at how much commission you're each making, because that value to Amazon is critical in your organic ranking.
Great. Okay. So now some tools or some hacks and things that people can use around this, you mentioned, to reduce some of the complexity.
So in reducing complexity, we've been talking about a hugely dynamic market. That realization in and of itself should make you think, well, look, humanly, it's not possible for me to move these bids constantly throughout the day to find out what the best price is. So you have to use software. That's exactly where we should be using machine learning and
AI.
Maybe AI. Yeah. And so there are a number of tools on the market. We have preferences, but there are a number.
Let's
of
talk about our
tools.
preference. There's
Takeometrics is the one that we use. Yeah.
And we've tested a whole bunch of them out.
Yeah.
The one that we have found to work the best is Takeometrics.
Yeah, as a bidder on its own solely, that works phenomenally well.
Okay. It's about funny. There'll be a link maybe in the description. On
and I think it's worth just pointing out, I mean, from a cost perspective, it will save you money pretty much from the day you start using it. So you'll probably make on your advertising spend about a 20 to 30% saving.
Which will pay for it.
Cool.
Okay, so number 1 tip or hack, use AI software. The one that we've used and are recommending is Takeometrics. Cool.
Whenever you're looking at organic ranking and whenever you're looking at your advertising budget, focus on a handful of keywords. Don't spread yourself too thin. Again, this is something we see people do all the time. Focus in on a handful of keywords. It's that 80-20 Pareto principle rule. 80% of your revenue and your orders are probably going to come from about 20% of your keywords. There are probably 4, 5, 6 per product that are really super important. You want to know how you're ranking on those organically. And if you focus your ad budget on them, you should be able to track that going up, assuming you're hitting one magic metric, and that is conversion rate. Conversion rate and commission, those are the key values you want to look at. And as long as you're making more money than the competition, Amazon is going to reward you for that.
Are there any... Okay, so let's ask Leon. So Leon, are there any... You're a practitioner of Zemir, the philosophy of Zemir, the school of Zemir.
School of Hogwarts. I am now a wizard.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely a wizard. So... are there any practical tips or tricks that you would recommend to people for reducing the complexity or making this kind of easier for people to understand?
I think it depends on the product, but I know you already mentioned that. But I think, have you referenced cost per acquisition?
No.
Is that too...
No, go for it.
Is that high level enough to discuss?
Yeah.
Well, it kind of links both of what you guys have been talking about today, right? But often... that relationship between price and advertising is more important than people think. And you might have a product that's premium priced or priced higher than the competition. You might be spending your cost per acquisition, so the amount it costs per order. Let's say, for example, it's your cost per acquisition is £3, right? And your product costs $14.99. if you were to reduce your price by £1, would that then, one, increase your conversion rate? Possibly, worth testing. Two, as a result of increased conversion rate, improve your organic ranking. Three, increase your organic sales. Would that then give you the opportunity to pull back on advertising? And suddenly, as soon as you're able to pull back on advertising and focus on less things in the advertising, does that make it less complex? In my eyes, it does, because you can focus on, those single keywords. And again, the reason I said it depends on the product is if you've got a very black and white product like coconut oil, people are searching coconut oil, right? So you know that you can get rid of all the fluff, single keyword, coconut oil. That's all you need to worry about. And because of your change in price, your cost per acquisition has now gone from, okay, I was spending £3 cost per acquisition, now I'm spending £1. People think, oh, if I drop price, then I lose margin. But actually, you've improved profitability by dropping price. So maybe quite separate to what you were saying, but I think it's something that people should also consider. And it just comes back to that point of, you can drive loads of money into advertising, but is my product competitive more than anything? Conversion rate, but is my product competitive in all those 7 areas that we say?
I think it's a really good point he's making there. And one of the key points you can take from that is you can sell premium products alongside cheap products on Amazon and compete.
And
You can win. And we do that. So we are where, especially when you're talking about brands with really strong provenance or really high quality product versus maybe something that's a much cheaper option. And that offering may actually do really good units, but you can sit right alongside it and probably make a lot more margin. And fundamentally, when it comes to advertising, I think there are some key points to look out for. ACOS is not a macro metric. You measure that at keyword level. If you're looking for a more macro metric, it's TACOS. That's going to tell you, and that's a metric you track over time. You're looking for a trend improvement. And the key trend you're really looking for, if you want sustainable advertising, is you want to focus in and make sure that your organic revenue is increasing week on week, month on month. That's the fundamental thing you're trying to push. Because if you're looking for sustainability, that's going to be critical. And when it comes to advertising, we absolutely 100% have to advertise now. And that's because Amazon's handed so much of the space. It used to be 1 or 2 sponsored products. Now we've got the banner ad. And we've got 4, 5, sometimes 6 sponsored products before the organics appear. And then immediately below those, we've got more advertising with the video ads. So where you used to be able to rely on your organic listings and ranking to drive most of your sales and didn't need to advertise, those days, unfortunately, for most of us are behind us. But here's the key thing. Whilst you have to spend a sizable chunk of your proportional revenue on advertising to grow, maintaining it takes a lot less. So you're probably going to drop around to, depending on your category, maybe 5 or 10% to maintain. But growing there, and that journey needs to be planned, and you need to be looking at your fundamental metrics. You want to be looking at your conversion rate. You want to be looking at your organic revenue, your proportion of organic to paid, and you also want to be looking at things like your CTR. Those are your indicative metrics. All good checking on your PPC and your cost per click and everything. Those are key. But really speaking, your organic sales growing week on week, that is a sign of a healthy, successful campaign and product.
I've got one more thing to add there as well.
Please enlighten us.
I thought about it while you were speaking, maybe getting a little bit more into the practical element of this, but also the importance of action and inaction, I feel, in advertising, potentially isn't spoke about enough. And what I mean by that is the confidence not to change something when it looks like it's going wrong based on one metric that you're looking at. So like you said,
hold still.
As Amir just said, the difference between growing and maintaining, you might see you're spending on something and it's not converting. And the person quite rationally would turn around and turn that off or pull back on that. But are you tracking the organic ranking? If you're seeing that something's spending and not converting, but your organic ranking is rising and rising and rising and rising,
something's working.
Something is going to happen eventually. You just got to sit in that, and it's having that confidence not to
hodl,
move away from that.
I think it's a really and we've seen that happen so many times. It's amazing when people ignore those green shoot metrics, and we can see it on a more macro level whenever we talk to brands. And sometimes they've gone and looked at, like, they'll look at 6 months worth of sales, and they'll look at and go, hey, we made a loss on this product, we'll just stop. Right.
Yeah.
But when we break that down month by month over the 6 months, we say, well, hold on a second. You made a loss in the first 3 months, and by month 4 you were break even. Month 5 you made a small profit. In month 6 you're making a half decent profit. What you've done is you've invested in this product over that 6 month period, right? And if you look at it as if you take the wrong perspective on it, if you just take 6 months later, you'd look at it and go, well, we're just going to stop doing this. But what you've just done is you've just pulled a profitable product and not realized it because you were just looking at you were looking at the data in the wrong way.
Okay, so we run the risk of going kind of like either really thick down or geeking out together too much. So here's what I'm going to propose. If people were happy and they like this stuff, please can you let us know, comments, just likes, just some indicator, send us a bat signal, smoke signal, pigeon, whatever, any way that you can. Let us know, so that way, if you liked it, I'm keen for Zamir to kind of actually give some really detailed practical advice.
Yeah, people could ask questions.
Down to how we can like even make up our campaigns and everything. So if you're up for that, let us know, get in touch, and we'll make that happen. Because we love you.
We just want some love back.
Cool. All right, let's wrap it there. Peace out.
One love.